Hey, it's D, and we are here at my local gym, and man, I am absolutely stoked to give you this info. So let's just get right into it, okay? So basically, before I show you the actual moves, I wanna give you the gold, if that's cool with you. I wanna give you the juice, if you will. And so here's the deal, okay? When it comes to resistance training, I definitely wanna give credit where credit is due. So the first person I definitely wanna give credit to is gonna be a doctor by the name of Dr. Doug McGuff, okay? If you look him up, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the vast majority of this doctor's work is in two places, okay? One is actually gonna be with, some older folks, right? He's a doctor, I believe, primary care physician, and so primary care provider, and so he's, a lot of his work, goes with some of the older folks, and then some of it, ironically, if you actually go to look him up, he has a huge base of like raving fans of like, these athletes, and you're like, wait, this is like two totally different worlds, right? And here's why he's so effective, okay? So one of the things that he does is he uses resistance training for, both sides, right? So for example, I have, some parents here, and it's really humbling to see when they go ahead and like do something like, reaching real high for like a jar or something like that, right? Like jar of mayonnaise, to know that they can crack it open, right? And then what's funny is whether you do that or whether you're doing something like a squat press, right? You have like this barbell, you go down and then you lift up, right? Like that same range of motion throughout the arm here, the shoulders, and even the back. If you notice, same range of muscles, right? And at the same time, whether it's cracking that jar open or even holding onto a barbell, it's essentially the same group. So these are really just things that really serve everybody, for now and forever, basically. Now here's the cool part about it. When it comes to Dr. McGuff, here's what makes him so vastly popular, okay? When it comes to resistance training, one of the key things that he teaches is going to be using a lighter weight or using a weight for intensity. However, here's the secret, okay? Instead of being some crazy monkey goofball gym rat and just throwing a bunch of weight on there, what he teaches is to go low and slow, really, really slow. So for example, you can literally walk up to any, non-threatening machine. Okay, literally walk up in there, instead of throwing some crazy weight on there, go ahead and focus on a lighter weight, okay? And then count very, very slow, meaning that like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way to like 20 or 30, right? In one direction, and then obviously 30 count down. Right? What the secret is he's focusing on a thing called time under tension, and which is a huge reason why both the elderly folks love him and so do the athletes. Okay, and here's why. Naturally, as an athlete, a performance athlete, they want to save their body, right? They don't want to be banged up. Like let's say you're a boxer or a football player, you don't want to get on the field or in the ring 99% tore down. You want to be able to save all your joints and your ligaments and all this other stuff for competition day, right? Same with the older folks. The beautiful thing about that is that now, right, simply by taking your time going one and two directions, you're still stimulating the muscles, number one. Number two, it's very non-threatening, right? Anybody can do this. You can literally take a bottle of water, and if you just hold it, right, and you just go like this and count to like, let's say 40, right? Eventually, depending on the weight of the bottle and how many reps you decide to do, it's gonna take that time under tension, will grow over time, and yeah, it's gonna go ahead and trigger everything from muscle building, fat burning. Now here is the huge benefit for type 2 diabetics. Okay, huge benefit. So number one is we're going to be activating a GLUT transporter. It's called GLUT4, okay? GLUT4, okay? Glucose transporter. And what I'll do is I'll put a link. Now, I am not a physician or a physiologist or even an exercise specialist specializing in type 2 diabetics. I just am one, but what I'll do is I don't want to take credit where credit is due. I will put some videos in the links below where you can actually see other, people working out with type 2 diabetics, specifically using resistance training specifically for, these GLUT4 attributes, okay? And here's why it's so important, okay? So GLUT4 is a glucose transporter that typically sits on the fat cell, all right? And when we activate it, it almost acts like a funnel, okay? So this glucose transporter is typically sitting on a fat cell, and when we go ahead and give it a little bit of activity, okay? It's like saying, hey, guys, wake up. And then what happens is that glucose transporter says, hey, we're burning the glycogen, right? The stored blood sugar in the actual muscle cell. And it says, hey, we're burning that fuel. Give us the fuel and don't sit on the fat. Like, we need the fuel over here. So what it does, it acts like a funnel and moves from over here to our blood, to our muscle cells. And guess what happens, right? As that free flowing blood sugar throughout the system goes flowing through and now gets funneled into our muscle cells, guess what happens to our blood sugar? Goes down. Right? Now here's another reason why that's so important when it comes to whether you're looking to bring down your blood sugar or even burn fat, right? There's probably nothing better that does it than better than muscle, right? If you just have standing muscle, just a little bit, you don't have to be jacked. I am definitely not some crazy gym rat jacked guy, you know what I mean? I'll be totally honest, just outside this window there's a guy in phenomenal shape and he's got like arms like the size of my legs and stuff like that, but I'm just not that guy, and it's totally cool, okay? So anyways, that is number one, and what I'll do is I'll go ahead and show you right now just how simple and effective that is, because what you'll see me doing a leg press. Okay, I'm taking my time. It's very non-evasive. And at the same time, you're going to notice my legs start to shake. Okay, legs are starting to shake. Okay, now here, let's go ahead and get into the next one here. Okay, so the second one is going to be essentially the same thing, but here's what we're going to do. Okay, we're going to go ahead and increase the reps and shorten the count, okay, depending on what's more important to you. And I'll actually give you the benefits here in a second. Okay, so basically this one actually is what's called a 10 count. Okay, there's an actual book on it. Real simple. Instead of counting to like 30 or 20 or whatever, you're just going to count to 10 in one direction, 10 the other direction, right? And then the beautiful thing about that is that feel free to do these on a machine. That way, the more, and both of these types of exercises on a machine. Okay, and the reason why is because, again, it's very non-threatening. If you get super, super tired or whatever, or you just, you start to like play with these weights, right? Naturally, hey, you can just kind of like, let it down nicely and well, there you go, right? Like no threat whatsoever, okay? Now, the other part of that, the other version of that is going to be version number 3, which is going to be basically doing low weights, okay, and high reps, okay? Low weights and high reps. And the beautiful thing about that is here's the secret with that, okay? When we go from using the other two versions, the 30 count, if you will, like Dr. Doug McGuff's, super, super slow, or even the 10 count, right? The beautiful thing about that is that we can use a machine, okay? Now, if you want to like turn that up a little bit, right? You can still take that same ideology and add it to, a dumbbell or a barbell, okay? And here's the beautiful thing about it. When we start super, super light, number one, we're still in a very non-threatening position, right? So like we can take it as our own pace. We can do it as our body feels good. We can build a lot of speed and momentum, okay? At the same time, here's what's going on. Number one, all of these different exercises are very fast. They're very efficient. Okay, very, very efficient, not only at muscle building, at bringing down your blood sugar, and if you're not like a person that likes to spend a lot of time in the gym like I am, like I kind of just want to get my work in and get out, right? Easy way of doing it. And here's the deal, okay? When we do high reps, low weight, here's the other thing that we're also doing, okay? So if you've ever gone online and you see like these older women and they're like putting up all this weight and they're deadlifting like, and you're like, dude, where's this coming from, okay? Essentially, here's what they're also doing, okay? If you've probably seen the movie Karate Kid, you'll remember that scene, the original one, right, where he, Daniel-san gets frustrated and he goes in the backyard and he's about to leave Mr. Miyagi, and Mr. Miyagi just throws all these, punches and kicks at him, and out of nowhere, he just starts, throwing out all these karate moves because he like sanded the floor and washed the car and did all this other stuff, right, and all those same moves. Basically, that is just fancy words for muscle memory. An even more fancier term, if you want to look it up, it's called a motor engram, okay? A motor engram. And all that really is just fancy words, again, for muscle memory, meaning that they've done a particular motion so much, okay, that their central nervous system, their CNS, okay, and their muscle patterns, okay, kind of like a dog running through the grass over and over and over in the same direction, draws like a line in the middle of someone's lawn, right? Same exact thing, okay? So when they put their body under a load, okay, it's only trained to fire in one direction, okay? It only knows how to fire in synchronous, like, in a very synchronized pattern, The beautiful thing about that too is that when we get away from machines, okay, the beautiful thing about a machine is that, yeah, it's a little bit of a safety blanket. It kind of like almost forces, if you will, if you don't have good form. Totally cool. You know, that we all start from somewhere. It's the perfect place to start. The beautiful thing about that is that when you actually move to a barbell or a dumbbell, all of the supporting muscle groups, if you will, now get activated. Right? So it allows you in a very non-threatening way, because keep in mind, we're staying light, okay? And then go ahead and we can now build, you know, the surrounding muscle groups, build that dexterity and that flexibility in our, you know, in our range of motion, okay? That is huge, okay? Range of motion and power and flexibility and really just having controlled muscle movement throughout a wide range is really the secret to almost everything. If you look at, you know, whether these people are doing Zumba classes, pole dancing classes, Thai boxing, CrossFit, whatever it is, you'll notice that across the board, a good range of motion, okay, and the ability to now use those muscle groups within that range of motion, all of them have, and now we're able to shortcut that very, very simply, okay? Very, very simply. The fourth way of actually using this in a very easy way is going to be using bands, okay? Using bands. As very, very simple as they are, again, if it's super, super simple, simply increase the time, increase the reps, and eventually those little 2 points of, you know, what feels good and where your body's going to grow and stuff like that will only come together, and then obviously it can take you to that next plane. Okay, and then number 5, more than anything, is just gonna be mixing it and playing with these things at your own leisure. I'm a firm believer, okay, a firm believer that if we go to the gym, we go to start to, you know, really start to like transform and like exercise and stuff like that. If we absolutely start doing something that we totally hate, okay, and we just force ourselves to do it, we're gonna be like everyone else on January, and then you go to the gym and like the gyms are like flooded on January, and then like by March, like it's crickets, right? And then by like, you know, December or something like that, like it's nobody there. It's just the same people that show up anyway, right? The easiest way to reverse engineer that is to simply start and play with these things and find what feels good. Find, you know, where you have your little security blanket. Find where you have the most momentum and use that as a foundation. Use that as to like scale out your work and then take it from there. That, my beloved friend, is absolutely, you know, something that I hope that absolutely serves you well. And here's why. Long story short, my father, okay, type 2 diabetic, right? To put things in perspective, just how powerful this stuff is. One day he was working one day, and then he had an issue with his spine, okay? And long story short, he had to have open spine surgery. They had to cut the base of his neck here, okay? And he essentially lost like 90% of his, of the feeling, like a little over 90% of the feeling is in his hands and his arms, and he could in his fingers, okay? I can't really begin to tell you just how humbling it is, because we would go to like a restaurant, okay, and look, he'd have to go to the bathroom, whether it be like number 1 or number 2, just imagine being all over yourself, not because you couldn't hold it, not because you couldn't get there, no, because you got there and then your hands wouldn't work, okay? And he struggled for years doing that, okay? One day he was like, he saw me working out or whatever, and he's like, man, this seems really cool. And I was like, Pops, let me give you a stick, okay? And like this little foam covered bar or whatever. He sits down and stands back up, okay? And when he did that, it looked like there were butterflies under the skin of his leg. Like you could see all the nerve endings coming back to life, okay? And now he's literally to the point where he works out all the time. Like you can't tell that he ever had any of those issues. Now he's the first one to say, hey, look, I'm not completely healed 100%, right? He used to play guitar, and that's like all feel, right? If anybody knows my father, he was a guy that actually came to this country homeless, worked a blue collar job his entire life, worked at the post office, and at the same time, in his off time, built his own real estate, portfolio by hand, by his own hands. I can clearly remember going to like Home Depot as a kid before the internet was around. A tenant would call, okay? A tenant would call and say, hey, the toilet's broke or the sink is broke or whatever. He would literally go to Home Depot with a pen and a pad. Okay, they used to have a book section back there because again, there was no internet. He would literally take notes. He would then go to the tool section, buy whatever minimal tools he would, because he did open his wallet and he only had like $20. Okay, and so he was like, all right, what do I need just to fix that? Okay, and then we would literally go home And then at home, because I'm Asian, we always had like a rice cooker going. We would go to the Chinese place, get a 3 entree dinner, okay, with normally feeds one person, okay, the 3 entrees with like all noodles, okay, and we would split that up for a family of 4, okay. To put things in perspective, he built his own real estate portfolio from the ground up using his bare hands, and to lose all of that and to come all the way back, not all the way back, but man, to see where he's at now, simply by using these same things or prices. So I absolutely hope that serves you well, because he's not only a type 2 diabetic, he's an older gentleman. And so yeah, to know that he went through that same whole rocky story, same thing that I absolutely hope, turned everything around for me, I absolutely hope that serves you well. So my heart's with you, and I'll definitely see you in the next one. If this served you any well in your transformation, go ahead and make sure that you like, subscribe, and that way you can get the videos as they are released. So my heart's with you, and yeah, let's get on to the next one. Later.
Woo! Damn! That was good. That was good.
Hi, my name is Davis, and I'm part of a group you've probably never heard of. We can't be defined by the mainstream, as together we're the face of a movement. And because we all know that what type 2 diabetes can do to us and the people that we love, we want all the possibilities to living the life that we deserve. Since we're fighting for ourselves, the people that we love, and for one another, we have to play the game different. We have to play the game smarter. Because the faster we spread our message and help each other out, the faster we're saving lives. The faster we're saving lives, the faster we're saving families. And the faster we're saving families, the faster people just like you and I change the world forever. So if no one's ever told you, let me be the first to tell you right now that you have every single right to live in the life that you've always wanted, that you have every single thing that it takes within you to crush type 2 diabetes on your own terms, and don't ever let anyone take that from you. Now, if you ask someone stuck in the past, they tell you what we're doing is impossible, yet it's happening every single day, all because we chose life over type 2, and these are our stories.